Yeah, like, you know what?
Local
This
teacher
isn't
freaks
good.
out.
recording.
He's recording? All right. Hi, welcome to episode 6 of the Weekly Wave. Take 2. Because last recording didn't save for some reason, so we have to do this all over again.
Very
I'm Matthew
tedious.
Lyons.
And I'm Aaron Johnson.
Our guest here today is history teacher and political enthusiast, Mr. Nicholas DiPrizio. How are you, Mr. DiPrizio?
Doing well, gentlemen. Thanks for having
Yeah.
me.
Again, yeah.
Yeah, again.
Thanks for coming.
Very
again.
snowy on Monday.
Yes, it was very snowy. Nice to have no school.
Yeah.
What did you do on that day off?
I did a lot of grading.
Nice.
Very exciting. Looked out the window a few times, pondered, and then went back to grading.
Wow,
Yeah.
very exciting.
Yeah. That's how I spend most weekends, actually. Okay, go ahead.
All right, so today we're going to be talking about the Trump summit with Kim Jongun.
I'm pausing for dramatic effect. That joke went way better in the previous
First
stage.
one, yeah.
But what do you think went wrong with the Trump and Kim Jong-un summit? Because as we know, nothing really happened.
Yeah, I think North Korea and the United States aren't necessarily where they need to be in terms of finding a middle ground. I think the United States kind of envisions total denuclearization of North Korea with lifting economic sanctions. North Korea is maybe not necessarily inclined to do that yet. I still think they're trying to kind of keep those nuclear weapons as political tool, and I think the United States just wasn't. You kind of maybe had some wrong information about how close North Korea was to potentially making a deal or giving up those nuclear weapons before going in, and it doesn't seem like there was much kind of maneuver room there. So, I think they just weren't necessarily eye to eye on kind of what was going to happen or what was a realistic expectation from each country involved.
Yeah, I feel like President Trump is more of a businessman, while Kim Jong-un's more of a dictator. So they kind of clash with their business ideals. But on to other things. Michael Cohen, former lawyer for Trump, he had a testimony like days before the summit about how Trump and his administration is racist and how they're just dishonest. Do you feel that this Michael Cohen testimony impacted the summit?
I'm not sure it did. Maybe from a North Korea perspective, these kind of things going out maybe in some ways, minimizes the impact of Trump's words. And, we kind of have all these other things going on potentially, maybe making the United States look unstable in that sense where you have these different things going on at home. But I don't think there's any shocking revelation or anything like that. There wasn't any, really new things that came out, especially in terms of, maybe Trump's personal beliefs or things that he said in the past. I think Cohen maybe just confirmed what people already kind of knew or had reports about, or different things that Trump has said or kind of believed. And again, I don't think this is anything that his voters or people didn't know about during the election. But now it's just, I guess, maybe confirmed through someone that has worked with the Trump administration, obviously, and worked with Trump personally really closely for years. But I don't know that necessarily impacted the summit. I think that more had to do with, just kind of the different points of view that the United States and North Korea were coming in on that.
So after that, do you believe that his testimony was actually true?
Hard to say when you have someone that's, admitted to lying on numerous occasions on behalf of Trump and, the Republican Party and different things like that. But it kind of seemed like he had a little bit of edge, I guess, or was trying to get back at Trump in some ways, and or kind of knows that he's in trouble, so is trying to maybe bring some people down with him, right?
Yeah.
So I think most of what he said is true. Obviously, it's tough to tell exactly, but I do think that he was being truthful to the most extent when talking about different scenarios he's been in with the Trump administration and kind of in the past.
Like, he's paid to lie, but also he's paid to tell the truth because obviously lawyer-client confidentiality. So I feel like it's a really, edgy situation, if that's like the best way to put it. Yeah, that's all I got to put in.
Do you think, back to the summit, do you think the deal could be salvaged in any way?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's something they're going to keep working on. It doesn't seem like it's completely out of the question for them to meet again sometime in the near future. There was reports of, some North Korean kind of representatives going out to the plains, before Trump and Secretary of State Pompeo left, kind of trying to get some last words in. So it seems like there's still maybe potential there for, some kind of deal to get done again, though I think the countries have to find some middle ground where, lifting of some economic sanctions or denuclearizing to some extent, maybe canceling, work on certain facilities, which has been talked about. So I do think, I wouldn't be surprised if we'd see in the near future another meeting where they could maybe try to find kind of that soft spot, that middle ground that both countries could maybe agree to some extent, to reach their objectives.
Yeah, I don't think it's just going to be like, you know what, fine, we'll do it.
Yeah, right.
It's just going to be a
change my
complete
mind.
180. Yeah.
And nuclear weapons are kind of like Kim Jong-un's leverage. Do you feel like this deal will actually go through? Do you feel like Kim Jong-un will finally give away all of his nukes? Because without him, he's just kind of like he's kind of like Egypt. Like no one really threatened by Egypt.
Right.
Like he's really holding power against all
I hear
these other
that
big nations.
the Sphinx has some magical powers.
Oh
So.
yeah.
Good
Never
point.
know.
Very good point.
I heard the pyramids are missile silos. Yeah.
The ancient Egyptians were very advanced.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I find it hard to believe that Kim Jong-un would give up to, without getting some serious benefit in return, because as you mentioned, that is kind of their leverage, their position, their threat as kind of a world power. But I think some other country recently, India, has, kind of gone the way of basically ignoring the United Nations and things like that, and they've kind of developed into a strong country where at first they were, kind of chastised, I guess, for developing nuclear weapons, but then the international community came to respect them a little bit and kind of, treat them like a bigger country and, more powerful nation. So I'm thinking that's what Kim Jong-un has kind of in mind for North Korea is, these are something that kind of give him standing, give him a platform, on a global stage. So I do think it would be, have to be a really enticing offer or, economic benefit for his country and for him personally if this was to be something that they were to kind of do away with or get rid of entirely.
Could you imagine getting Kim Jong-un mad? Just that nuke.
With or without the nukes?
Yeah.
Because I feel like with the nukes, it's very threatening. Without the nukes, he kind of looks like a little child.
With the nukes, if they're eating, I don't know if he enjoys pizza, but if they order a pizza and there's one slice left, do you think somebody's gonna take that from him?
I'm guessing. I think that situation is he gets 4 pizzas to himself.
Oh,
no
right,
one
right,
can
right.
even they're not even eating out of the same box.
Right.
Would be mine. This is a guy that was reported on his state news channel to have shot an 18 at a local golf course, which is outrageous.
Yeah.
Things like that. So I think Kim Jong-un gets essentially
All the pizza in the
isn't
world.
necessarily competing with too many people in that country or in that system for his say or kind of what he wants.
I don't know I don't know why pizza popped in my head. I'm very hungry. What do you think the next step will be in our relationship with North Korea?
I don't know. I think right now I think it's a good thing that the leaders are talking. And potentially kind of again, there's room for potential agreements or things that I do see at some point. Perhaps similar to the Iran situation where, Trump kind of pulled out ironically recently, but where you kind of limit these nuclear programs, weapons development for lifting of economic sanctions and say, okay, we'll open up trade, we'll start, trading oil and different kind of necessary supplies as long as you keep, a limit, a cap to, the uranium, plutonium, different things that you're using that could potentially lead to nuclear development. I think North Korea is gaining obviously a bad track record for human rights and quality of life in that country, and I think eventually Kim Jong-un will need to kind of come to the table and say, here's what we're willing to give up. And again, I think it'll be tough to say we're going to give up all nuclear power of all kinds, but I do think there will be room for some type of agreement, in the coming, whether it's this administration or in the near future. I do think there will be some sort of relationship built there.
Because I feel like without his nukes, he's kind of open for investigation in a way, because everyone's afraid to piss him off right now. But when you remove that huge leverage factor, then you can start exposing the deep secrets within North Korea. I know there's many reporters. In our first podcast, you were talking about how they stage when Americans come over to look about their country. So it's really interesting to see what would happen when this major powerhouse militarily is taken down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and again, I don't know. That's something that's something that Kim Jong Un will certainly hold tight to. Just him personally, like you said, kind of being exposed maybe without this. So it's hard to imagine a situation where he says, okay, we're fine with denuclearizing, getting rid of all our facilities, all our missile capabilities, all things like that, because that could potentially lead to his power, or his kind of role in that government also going down with it. So. I do think something will change with that country. I don't know if it's imminent or maybe it'll take new leadership or something like that, but it'll be interesting to see how it kind of plays out there.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thanks for coming on.
Before I go, Matthew, just wanted to congratulate ICU Studios. Big win at the Oscars last
Yes,
week.
thank you.
I appreciate the shout out in the speech. I really appreciate you remembering the little people as you become into a star.
Yes, it was a big honor.
We'll fill you all in.
Or will we?
Never know.
Anyway, thank you for coming again.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
And if this footage gets deleted, well, we'd love to have you back on.
Right.
So.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
I had nothing planned for anywhere in the near future, so
All right.
appreciate it.
Thanks. Thanks for watching. Tune in next week to see an all-new episode of The Weekly Wave.
And make sure to follow us on our Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook at the Green Wave Gazette.
Thanks for watching.
Goodbye.